From the beginning, anyone who stepped into the boxing ring against Iron Mike had to be considered a winner. Although, most likely, it wasn't going to be a victory in the sport, it was indeed a personal triumph, having the courage to face a knockout machine. Stay tuned until the end of the video to relive some of the most terrifying fights in Mike Tyson's history, the ones where his opponents had no choice but to try to withstand as long as possible in the ring. Shall we give you a surprising fact? The last fighter in our top didn't last even 25 seconds in the first round. Las Vegas witnessed a night where Tyson demonstrated why he was the youngest world heavyweight champion. Alongside Tony Tucker, they delivered one of the most memorable spectacles for boxing fans of that time and even today. Tyson, that night, entered the ring undefeated. He had won a total of 30 fights, with 27 of them by knockout, which gave him great confidence when facing a tough opponent like Tucker. What was exciting was that Tucker also entered the ring undefeated, with a slightly better record than Tyson's. He had won 34 fights, with 29 of them by knockout. They were the perfect opponents, and what happened that night proved it. The first round began, and it seemed like Tyson was fighting a giant. But he didn't care. He decided to attack with the aggression that characterized him.
Mike Tyson. But is he strong enough to do that?
Although the fight started close, you could see how Tony went for the body when he was in trouble to get a breather from the referee.
A chant, but there are miracles here. The last time Tony
Tucker ended the first round against the ropes, saved by the bell.
And particularly for Tucker. The great left hand at the bell by Tyson.
But he wouldn't be safe for long, because as soon as the second round started, Tyson was on top of him again, pressing to find a weak point in his defense.
Well, you know, Ray, I hearken back to your fight with Marvin Hagler, where after the first round, there was no question in my mind that Tucker, in fact, he threw him 1, 2, 3. He's followed up with a...
They reached the third round, and Tucker's strategy seemed unchanged: try to withstand Tyson's attacks for as long as possible. Probably, in his mind, he was trying to wear him out to finish him later, but Iron Mike didn't know how to reduce his power.
Tyson on the way in. He's finished with the left hook, Barry.
By the end of the third round, Tyson found an opportunity and took advantage of having him cornered to land a powerful combination of punches to Tucker's face and upper body. But once again, he was saved by the bell. It was clear that the fight was going Tyson's way, and the next rounds would only be a testament to never underestimate a fighter based on their height. Mike might have been small, but his execution was superior to Tucker's. By the sixth round, Tucker's guard was noticeably down. His muscular arms couldn't stay up, and Tyson knew he was achieving his goal: weaken him until the difference in their bodies didn't matter.
A lot of people.
In the seventh round, it was no longer convenient for Tucker to play the game of who could withstand more punches. If he wanted any chance, at least on the judges' scorecards, he had to secure a couple of rounds in his favor. However, Iron Mike's defense remained as high as at the beginning. For him, a winner had already been chosen, and it wasn't Tucker. If there's one thing Tucker showed that day, it was his endurance to last so many rounds while enduring Iron Mike's attacks. But Tyson revealed the beast within him by not slowing down his pace of the fight at any moment.
And again, getting the worst of it, still mugging with Tyson, which brings the crowd alive. Well, when you do that...
Todos esperaban un knockout para el round 10.
Everyone expected a knockout in the 10th round, but both warriors ended it on their feet. And thus, it became increasingly clear that the decision of who would win that night would be in the hands of the judges, crowning the one who had given a better fight. They closed the 12th round, and there was nothing more to do. It could be said that Tyson experienced one of the most tense moments of his career. Whoever took the other's undefeated record would be the best at the moment, and that's what both had endured until that point for. After deliberation, both fighters were brought to the center of the ring once again to announce the official result. Surprisingly, the decision was unanimous. While Tyson and Tucker shared a friendly embrace, the announcer declared the winner as the Great Iron Mike, and the theater erupted. It had been one of Tyson's toughest fights, and one of the most significant in the history of his career. Tyson's fight against Frank Bruno was much shorter, but that didn't diminish the demonstration that Iron Mike gave compared to his encounter with Tucker. When the bout started, both fighters gave an example of what it's like to face an opponent of your height. But Iron Mike's explosion of aggression almost threw Bruno out of the ring within seconds of the fight starting.
Tag with the right hand, and there goes Bruno for the first time.
After being separated and confirming that Bruno was fit to continue, both fighters continued to exchange combinations as if the decision depended on that round. Finally, Tyson had encountered an opponent who did justice to his aggressiveness.
Distractions have been answered as Tyson attacks. Taken away. I don't think points will mean anything by the time this fight's over. But Frank Bruno is trying to make a fight of it. He's hanging on. But
by the second round, both fighters were still in the same mood. While Bruno tried to land hooks to Tyson's head, it was evident that Mike was targeting his chest to wear him down before finishing him. However, at the end of the second round, Tyson found the perfect opportunity to go for Bruno's head. After landing a hook, he noticed how Frank's guard dropped, and he unleashed a combination of punches that left him against the ropes.
the right hand catches Bruno. Left hook. Bruno looks ready to go. Now is when he's got to hang on. And he does.
Bruno managed to escape by grabbing Mike, gaining some time until the bell rang. Just by going after Mike's body and gaining time, Bruno survived the third round. But Iron Mike wasn't willing to have a long fight if it wasn't necessary. He knew his victory was taking too long, and he was determined to end the fight at the slightest opportunity. In the fourth round, Mike continued to target Bruno's upper body. A strategy that had worked before and, of course, would work at that moment.
Really bores in like a madman almost. Frank has got to start throwing that right hand. Tyson is almost measuring him now.
As soon as the bell rang to start the fifth round, Tyson attacked. Bruno tried to contain the beast, throwing himself at his body as many times as necessary, but Iron Mike was no longer willing to let him slow down his victory. With less than 120 seconds left in the round, the window of opportunity opened. Tyson connected a series of punches that excited everyone in the venue.
9,000 he had the hit notes out. Bruno was caught that time, and Tyson knows it. Tyson trying to attack now to finish it. Come off the ropes. Scores with the uppercut. Lands a big right hand. Bruno's in big trouble now. He's ready to go. He hits him with the right hand. Bruno trying to hang.
It was now or never. Bruno's defense was down. So, with the intention of making it official, Tyson increased his level of aggression, and for Frank, there was no turning back. With less than 10 seconds left in the round, Bruno was already against the ropes, receiving as many punches as Tyson had to give. While the tension of the ropes prevented him from falling, the referee had to step in and stop the fight.
The bell as the big right hand lands. Tyson knows he's got him in big trouble. If he doesn't answer it, Richard Steele.
Bruno was being massacred live. It was evident that he couldn't continue the fight. Another significant victory was added to Iron Mike's record. Closing our trilogy of terrifying fights won by the great Mike Tyson, we have the fight against Marvis Frazier. It was 1986, and Tyson's fame as a beast in the ring was already known to all his fellow competitors in the sport and the boxing fans who followed him.
Frazier
entered
subió al
the
ring
ring
con
with
16 victorias,
wins,
siendo
7 of
7
them
de
by
ellas por
knockout
nocaut
and 1
y
loss.
una derrota. Mientras que
Meanwhile, Tyson
tenía
already had
24
24
victorias en su
wins in his
historial,
record,
sin
with no
ninguna
losses,
derrota,
and 22
siendo
of them by
22
knockouts.
de ellas por nocaut.
When Tyson entered the ring, he was publicly called the favorite, something that may have angered Frazier. But from the show we were about to see, there was no doubt why Mike was the man of the moment. Frazier, being older, taller, and having a greater reach, statistically had an advantage over Tyson in the ring. However, the Great Iron Mike already had some experience demonstrating that numbers didn't always say the same thing as fists. As the first round began, Tyson wasted no time in sending Frazier back to his corner. Once there, he connected a series of punches that left him sprawled on the canvas as if he were a rag doll.
Uppercut, and Marvis is hurt.
Frazier is down. Joe Cortez moves in to have a look.
The fight hadn't even lasted 25 seconds. The audience hadn't even had time to settle into their seats to enjoy the show. Tyson had told them all, "We're finishing early. I have more important things to do." While the Great Iron Mike celebrated with his team, Marvis was receiving all the assistance he needed to try to get back on his feet. Not only had he been knocked out, but Tyson, in such a short time, had taken away all his sense of orientation. Just 2 well-placed punches to the chin were enough to bring down a giant like Frazier. And from that moment on, anyone who thought of facing Tyson had to consider protecting their chin in case of severe damage. The Beast, the Great One, the youngest world heavyweight champion, among other titles, truly are not big enough to do justice to all the moments that Mike Tyson gave us in the ring. Thanks to this trilogy, we were able to relive some of the toughest spectacles, both for Tyson's opponents and for the viewers. But we could name many more fights where his opponents didn't have a good time when facing the Great Iron Mike. What other fight do you think is one of the toughest to watch? Let us know which one you would add to our trilogy in the comments.